What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, division rivals? This is Steven Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel, the sports channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is that you are watching this. For me, it is Friday evening. And hey, look, if you're new to my channel and it's the first time you've come across it, or maybe one of a couple of times you come across, look, if you decide you like the content I'm putting out there, you like the detail and the time and the effort I put into it, you can do me a huge favor. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You have no clue how much that helps YouTubers, guys. It keeps us motivated to keep pushing out content. To all my OGs, you already know what I'm going to ask you to do. Please hit that thumbs up button. That thumbs up button is part of the way that we communicate with YouTube, so it knows to take our content and go ahead and push it out there for the rest of the world to see. All right, y'all. So, look, I just want to do a general video today. I'm not going to do some long-winded film study video today, guys. It's Friday night. We got a live coming up tomorrow. It's going to be me, Philly Mike, Philly Fresh. We're going to be doing a live for you guys. So I just wanted to come on and just talk to you guys a little bit. Man, I've been doing some really, really in-depth breakdowns recently. Had a couple of really great conversations with a few of you guys. Got to know you guys a little bit better. Some of you guys kind of, flex a little bit of your football knowledge yourself. It's always enjoyable to talk to people like that. I kind of enjoy conversing back and forth with people like that. And, you know, today I just want to take time. I really want to talk about the full scale of all the free agents that you're going to see in the 2020 NFL season because, it's all great and fine to talk about potential, free agents and potential targets the Eagles could go after. But the bottom line is we only have so much money to actually target some of these guys with. I mean, it would be great if you could just, not have no salary cap and have a guy like Jeffrey Lurie who might be willing to spend for a championship, but then the competitive balance would be way out of whack. So we already know I've been really diving down deep on these defensive players. So today, guys, what I want to talk about today is I want to talk about, let's go over this list of guys again, and I want to know your thoughts, guys, on a lot of these people. Who is your number one target? Like if you had a wish list, who's that guy? Maybe give me a second guy or third guy, but keep the list pretty tight and narrow. So that way I can get a general sense of what we feel about some of these guys that are available. All right, y'all. Let's jump into today's content.
This is Connor. Ball's out.
All right. So first things first, guys, we've had some discussions. I kind of went out there and predicted that the Nigel Bradham, declining of his contract was coming down the pipe. I told you guys, look, it was looking at the numbers in the contract, looking at his production and his age, looking at Howie Roseman's statements. It just seemed like that was going to happen. Most of us here were pretty big fans of Nigel Bradham. One of those guys that you wish that the contract could have been worked differently because even if you don't project that guy to be a long-term starter for you at being over the age of 30, he's a veteran presence. Ideally you would love to have in your locker room. But of course, players see things differently when they're caught up in the moment. I'm pretty sure Nigel Bradham still views himself as a, top of the tier, linebacker in this league. So I wish him all the best of the luck. I wish him nothing but success in the future, except for when he plays those guys in green, those Philadelphia Eagles. With that said, I told you guys yesterday when I was doing that film study about Malcolm Jenkins, is like when you got to 2017, you can see the Eagles were a lot different in our coverage schemes, were a lot different in the utilization of players. Things were looked a lot different in 2017 until we started losing players. Like, the first domino and the biggest domino I focused on was when we lost Jordan Hicks. That kind of threw a wrench into the sub package that we were using. We tried to resolve that situation with guys like Joe Walker. We tried to use Ellerby. We went multiple ways to try to resolve it to the point we basically ended up having to play Malcolm Jenkins primarily as a Sam or a Will down in the box, basically doubling as a linebacker. I didn't see too much big nickel then. There seemed to be more of a phenomenon I was seeing more of last season in 2017. But nonetheless, like we could see that shift, that change was starting to happen. Which brings me into my next point that I'm making here, guys, which is, the next guy that we really have a big question to answer right now defensively is Malcolm Jenkins. Because if you lose Malcolm Jenkins from the secondary, it impacts more than just the safety play. Number one, you've lost your free and your strong safety. But number two, you've lost some of the flexibility that guy afforded you to have. Him being able to play in the box and be able to play as a single high safety and being able to pick up a slot. Like, he was a very flexible guy. He was, one of those ball players that gave you the most value that you could get out of him. Look, all these, I'm not saying that we should or shouldn't walk away from Malcolm Jenkins. I personally still think he's got a year or two left of football life. I think you try to keep a guy like that in your building as long as you can. But I also will admit, we've got to start making permanent decisions for the long-term future. And if you move Malcolm Jenkins out and you cannot find a guy that fits exactly, not necessarily exactly, but as closely to Malcolm Jenkins as possible, it means you really have to change your coverage schemes. And that's going to have a big impact on that back seven. So some of the things I talked about, guys, is when I first kicked off free agency, I led with a few guys I want to kind of talk to you guys about today, which is, the first guy I talked about was James Bradberry. This is a guy that a lot of us like. I thought James Bradberry for like the cover three, that off coverage kind of system. I felt like James Bradberry, he's pretty good at that. He can get physical receivers and jam them up at the line. He plays the ball pretty well in the air. He went up against some top-notch competition. But I will say, guys caught balls on him. He did pretty good in every other advanced analytics metrics that you looked at to measure cornerback. He did fairly well at. But he was playing some of the best receivers in the league, being down there in the NFC South. And he was put through the ringer being that number one cornerback in Carolina. I do think that he's a massive upgrade over what we have. But money always talks, guys. Money always talks. The other guy I talked about, I told you, in my opinion, this is the most talented guy in all of this cornerback class. I know we don't feel comfortable with him because he's a Dallas Cowboy, but he's got really no real connection back to Dallas. The kid he's a Massachusetts, New England, Connecticut kid. Like, he's got no ties there. Like, he's a very, very good press corner. We haven't really got an opportunity to see him play a lot of zone. And, to be honest, the only real knock you're going to have on a guy like Byron Jones is the fact that he doesn't have a lot of takeaways. And if, the focal point is takeaways, he may not be your best fit per se. Now, you could still argue that a guy who locks down the side of the field gives you opportunities for takeaways, and that is true. But he's the other guy. And I can tell you right now, Byron Jones is going to definitely cost you money. I would not be shocked if Byron Jones has come out of this free agency cycle as the highest paid cornerback in the league. There is that distinct possibility. And I do like Byron Jones, and I do believe in that kid's talent. I'm not going to go that high for him. Like, I'm just not, it's not even nothing personally against him. It's about the position. I'm not going to pay that much for that particular position because I feel like if your pass rush is right, you can get by with good, above average to good corner play. You can get away with. We can go into the safeties. I thought that if you're going to replace Malcolm Jenkins with a guy that might be similar to him, the one guy that really catches my attention, guys, is Anthony Harris. But once again, I don't know what Anthony Harris's market value is going to be. I would guess he's probably going to get paid over $10 million a season on average. He's probably going to cost you, he might cost you top five money, to be quite honest. And top five money means that you're basically getting above $12 million a season. Are we going to spend that at safety? I mean, that's a question, right? Another guy I brought up was Clinton Dix. I've seen some models that say Clinton Dix might be under the 10 million threshold. He might be close to what we're paying Malcolm Jenkins currently. I like Clinton Dix a lot. I definitely think he could play that high safety role. I'd have to see a little more of him. I haven't done enough study yet to feel completely confident projecting him of being in the box, routinely. But I will say this, is that Chicago does run a lot of cover six. If you're not familiar with cover six, you will get a lot of in-the-box play from your safeties. But most of it is kind of a post-snap read. Sometimes you'll get that pre-snap, but it's a lot of post-snap read. Past him, I did talk about Fuller out there in Kansas City. I thought Kendall Fuller is a guy that you can plug and play as a free safety. And, of course, we got our own internal candidate, guys, that we went over that. But just free agency for today, guys. Some other things I wanted to talk about. The linebacker play. I told you guys, I thought Joe Schobert is the best fit in free agency for the Philadelphia Eagles. If you want to go get a top-notch guy, I think he fits everything the Eagles want to do. I think he's a read and react type linebacker. I think he plays the pass particularly well. I think he needs to improve against the run, but he's a hell of a lot better than what we've been throwing out there in certain instances. He's young. I think he's worth the money. I think he's worth the time to develop. Now, I have heard recently that number is starting to move up past $12 million. I don't know if that's his real market value. I start to get cold feet around that number. But I can tell you, if he's around the $10 million range, I think he's worth a look, to be honest. I would probably sign this kid at 10 mil just because he takes a lot of the rest of the stress off that back seven. Cory Littleton's a guy I know a lot of people are high on. I think Cory Littleton is my most certainly the most talented linebacker coming out of this particular free agency class. One of the most talented linebackers in the league, just outright. But that kid's going to make a lot of money, guys. I just don't think the Eagles are going to be in the market for what it's going to cost to land a guy like Cory Littleton. You're looking over $14 million, in my opinion, for Cory Littleton for the season. I don't think the Eagles are in the market for a linebacker that high. Hey, I would love for them to shock the hell out of me, but I just don't see that. I will tell you where I do see the Eagles breaking the bank if you want to pay for money. And boy, oh boy, is there a lot of these guys on the market this year. Pass rusher. Okay. I'm going to make videos coming up next week where I'm going to definitely talk about the pass rush and improving the pass rush. But I just want to give you guys a few names of guys that are available. Okay. You got young guys like Vic Beasley still available. You got Arik Armstead from the 49ers, the guy that plays opposite of Bosa that everyone keeps forgetting about. Another young guy would love to add to this team. You got guys like Yannick Ngakoue from Jacksonville. Another young guy I'd love to add to this team, right? You got Shaq Lawson coming out of Buffalo. Another young guy I would love to add to the team. I mean, there are a lot of options with young guys. And then you got these in-between kind of veteran age guys, right? You got your Jadeveon Clowneys. You got Derek Wolfe coming out of Denver. You got Robert Quinn coming out of Dallas, who's set to hit free agency. You got Everson Griffin, who's really a veteran, coming out of Minnesota. That'd be a veteran pass rusher, not the most ideal situation, but certainly would help the pass rush. I mean, you even got some inside play guys. You got guys like Chris Jones. You got other guys like Quentin Jefferson coming out of Seattle. There is some real talent coming out at this defensive end, this defensive line in general, even D tackles. There are some really good studs out there to sign this offseason from the pass rush perspective. That's where I would personally love to see the money. If you're asking me who my favorite guy is on this list, it's Arik Armstead. I would take that kid right now. That's a massive upgrade. That's a kid that plays hard. That's a kid with a lot of talent. It's a kid that's probably going to cost you money. I'm not opposed to Vic Beasley. I think Vic Beasley is definitely more of a pass rush specialist, but he's got utility, he's got use, and he's pretty damn good at it. Yannick Ngakoue from Jacksonville, I'm very high on. He'd probably be my second target after Arik Armstead. And I was shocked to hear that Arik Armstead apparently is going to be able to test the market. I think it's a mistake on San Francisco's part. I mean, there's a lot of guys on here. You know, I would love to steal Robert Quinn from Dallas. He's got a lot of personal issues, though, that make me think that I wouldn't spend too much money on him because you never know if he's going to get 16 games. But, boy, when he can get 16 games, he's elite coming off that edge. There's no doubt about it. Jack Lawson's a good ball player. Like, guys, I really like this class of pass rushers. I think we can come out of here with decent talent. All right, y'all. I'm going to jump off of here, guys. Look, tell me what you think. I just gave you a lot of names. Give me like one person like you were like, man, I hope this is who we get. Me, it's Arik Armstead. I definitely like James Bradberry. I'm also a big Joe Schobert fan. But I would probably go, in terms of the order, Arik Armstead, Yannick Ngakoue, probably Vic Beasley, Joe Schobert, James Bradberry, Anthony Harris, then Clinton Dix, then Shaq Lawson. You know, then I could see the Eagles maybe looking at a Byron Jones. I just think it's going to get too expensive. Like, you know, then my list would get to the expensive guys. That's how I kind of look at it. But let me know how you look at it, guys. I want to know your guys, like your top targets. Like, who are the top targets? We can't sign all these guys. Like, you might get one or two of these guys. You're not going to get all of them. It's just too expensive. You know, we don't have the money for that. And we got a shit ton of draft picks. That's going to come into play. All right, y'all. Peace. I'm out here. I will see y'all tomorrow on the live. I'll put up a thing for you guys to see when the live is. So I'll post that tonight. So that way you'll know ahead of time when the live is. And you know what time it is, guys. It's time for me to go E-A-G-L-E-S. All right, y'all. Let's go, Eagles.